think a lot of people misinterpret the true motives and intentions of a spearfisherman, and I've created this video to convey my perspective on why I spearfish, allowing you to briefly gaze through our lens in the hope that you gain an understanding on why spearfishing is a healthy and enriching experience, instead of consuming the violent and cruel depiction that is too often portrayed to the masses. The ethical practice of spearfishing allows one to closely interact with many unique marine creatures. It's this close interaction that only strengthens the bond between man and nature and accentuates your appreciation for the beauty of the natural world. In my opinion, the biggest tragedy would be for humans to trick themselves into thinking that we should be separated from the natural world, so much so that we no longer feel at home when we are surrounded by it. Many people share the view that spearfishing is easy. It's a cruel act that takes advantage of innocent fish. That's easy to say, but in reality, human anatomy is designed for terrestrial environments, and so spearfishermen hunt in the aquatic landscape with a vast range of limitations. To level the playing field with fish, various techniques can be used, such as throwing up sand, using burley, making noise, and using devices like flashes, all to give yourself even the slightest chance of landing a fish that you might have been hunting for years. But even if that moment arrives and everything seems right, it can still go wrong. It's often the heartbreak of losing a fish that motivates us to take one more trip, do one more drop, to find that elusive dream fish. Because the feeling of landing a fish that you've worked so hard to find is a feeling that is very hard to beat. An amazing byproduct of a spearfisherman's quest to travel further and dive harder is the friendships and experiences with like-minded people that are made along the way. These shared moments in time are truly valuable and often create lifelong memories, such as sharing with your dive buddy the experience of landing a once-in-a-lifetime fish. Like many other spearos, my passion for animals transcends spearfishing. I have an intrinsic appreciation for every animal, and I live my life by attempting to experience as much of Mother Nature as possible. From the nimble ants that scurry beneath our feet, to the gargantuan whales that migrate our coastlines, each and every animal is fascinating in its own way. So when I go spearfishing, my goal isn't just to go out and kill animals. I go diving because I love the natural world in all its glory, and I relish the fleeting moments that I share with the ocean's creatures. It's crucial to keep in mind that when spearfishing, only a very small portion of time in the water is spent harvesting organisms. The majority of time in the water is spent passively observing the animals that reside there. Yeah, sure, we glorify our catches, and that may be confronting for some people, but we glorify them because they are a reward for all the hard work we've put into this lifestyle. We are at one with the marine environment, and so we have the right to take place in the perpetual cycle of life and death within this environment. To say that we don't is to say that we no longer belong in nature. I always have people talking to me about sustainability and how it is so important, and I feel as though hunting and spearfishing exemplifies this to the highest degree, as I am practicing the most selective and sustainable way to harvest food. There is no bycatch and no damage to the natural habitat. I am providing myself, my friends, and my family with freshly caught nutritious food. I know exactly where my food has come from, and I know the fish or the animal lived a healthy and natural life before being harvested. I also find it funny that it sometimes surprises people that spearos agree with and often participate in conservation efforts for wildlife and yet still practice spearfishing, although these two things go hand in hand. It's in a recreational fisherman's best interest to conserve the fisheries. We are the ones who are actively trying to both observe and harvest fish in their natural environment. So why wouldn't we be the ones who desire to see wild fish in abundance?
It all seems so clean.
One day I hope to live in a world that understands the motives and intentions of a spearfisherman more. A world that has an open mind about the ethics and reasoning behind the practice, regardless of whether people want to engage in it themselves or not. A world where someone isn't antagonized for adopting practices that have been used by humans to harvest food for thousands of years.